Good evening and welcome to another stream of Lou on a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock GMT. And welcome to those who love Dune Awakening, because today we have got a lovely stream ahead of us. Firstly, if you're not aware already and you haven't got in game yet and you haven't had the latest update, you'll find out that when you go to launch your launcher for the game, that the game has updated and the patch, the most anticipated patch probably of all time, well, not quite, but a very important patch has been released today, and that's a patch that introduces a number of big changes and also some free stuff that was, well, from my opinion, unexpected. Some free stuff, so always good to hear about stuff like that hitting us and players getting more than what we kind of were looking for. So I thought we'd start off today's stream just going over exactly what that actually is. So what I thought I'd do is do a quick kind of dirty kind of screen share. So what I will do is just so, because I couldn't do this before we went actually live, because unfortunately we do actually have some parts that I can't kind of show as easy for others as I can for others. So what I've done is I'm just switching a couple of screens a little bit around so that everyone can see this. But what you should all now be able to see is effectively the latest update, that the patch that has actually just come out as of today. Obviously, patch day for Dune Awakening is a Tuesday. Generally just speaking, it will just not always be a patch. It will generally just be the desert reset, the Chronionis event. And when obviously they do give us updates, generally they do try to keep to this, at least for the major updates, unless there are obviously patches or really hot fixes to fix bugs and stuff like that. But in today's actual release, we have been given a gift, apparently, and I've literally only just found this out as of like 10 minutes before starting the stream up. As I went to load the game, it wanted to do an update, and I'm nervously getting a bit nervous because that update was kind of obviously blocking me being able to get in the game and stuff like that, but also gonna prevent me from like starting the stream up and be ready for it. But in that as well, obviously what they've advised, according to this update here, we've now got a gift of the Sands free pack. As a heartfelt thank you as being part of our journey, we're excited to gift a special free pack to everyone who owned Dune Awakening. Enjoy this holiday surprise from us. The feature, a variety of beautiful new decorative items. The centerpiece is a strategy table assorted with miniatures to place strategically, and the miniature ornithopter, faction miniatures, and much more. So looks like we've basically been given a load of things to put in our base, which is great considering I've just blown up the size of my base. And obviously on top of that, we've got the big anticipated stuff that we were expecting to be coming in before Christmas, or at least sometime in December. Everyone was hoping before Christmas, which it has. And this has everything from the new building pickup tool, which effectively will allow players now to transfer servers from their place where they are now to wherever it is they want to go. So that means you can effectively snapshot your current building in your Hagga Basin and take that and go take it to another server instance. How far that actual other instance is, whether that means completely migrating servers, I'm unsure of, but certainly I would check out this post here. I'll put a link of it for you into chat. I'm sure you all have this, but in case you don't, go check out that link, and that will essentially take you to the actual main post itself that has all the information on the latest patch and update. I'm obviously not going to go through it all right now, and I'm sure there will be people, YouTubers, hurriedly, busily working on the content for this and giving you their insight into what's actually in this latest patch. So I won't ruin that. I'll let them do their normal stuff and yeah, go through all of that. But the one thing I can say is, as you can see by this picture here, yes, the container is the part that I was most after. I'm sure there's many other players like me who are most after that part of the patch, but we can now take a container out to deep desert with a holding capacity of 15,000 in it, from what I understand. Because obviously I haven't built it yet, so I don't know if that's definitely true, but today we could build the stuff that could build it potentially, because we'll only probably be able to build that, from what I was aware of, using the advanced vehicle fabricator, because this is classed a vehicle component. So and we build it using a welder in the same way as we would put together any other vehicle. So you won't be using your construction tool, which in my head originally I kind of was thinking along the lines of, yeah, it's going to be like building just a normal container. But no, this is actually not just in one component either. There will be several pieces to put together to make it. So I'm super happy that this is now available, and yeah, that's where we're at with that. So let me just quickly switch everything back so that you're back on the proper in-game capture. Just because the proper in-game capture, you probably don't notice until I switch it, but it is in an enhanced view, which the desktop isn't. The desktop is literally it's actually my backup in case things stop breaking. Okay, so everyone should be back on the proper one. Switch back to that, and I think we are now away. So let's get started, shall we, with what we're going to do today. What I will do, because I am very curious to see what it requires to build these new components. Actually, I should be able to just do it in research. I'm assuming, actually, I probably will need to research the item, won't I? So let's go have a look to see what skills or research we need, which should be under this, I imagine. There's the container. There's the fancy container, which looks like it might be one component. We'll soon find out. Because if it's more than one component, it looks like that. So there's a number of pieces to put together. But the container does look like it's just one item. Which is actually good to hear, because when they said you had to put it together with a welder, I was expecting it to be several pieces. So I'm actually quite glad actually it's not like several pieces. It takes 135 spice melange though. That wouldn't normally bother me, but the amount of spice melange I'm actually having to use to build the base here in Hagga Basin is a little bit more of an issue, but not an issue, obviously. But so let's have a look at the stats. So the stats, yes, here we can see it. The stats: maximum volume 15,000 units. That is, wow, that's so amazing. And 150 slots as well. So there's plenty of room now in this container, at least for moving all your stuff out. I would still say with regards to spice melange itself, or the spice sand, to get that back into Hagga Basin, you're best using a harvester. Like, you're not going to get away from not having a harvester, I don't think, because the harvester has a 25,000 capacity, but you can't obviously just put anything in it. It has to be spice sand. So yeah, effectively you probably need to use a spice harvester for maximum efficiency. Although, to be fair, you're going to need more spice melange than having several containers. So it really depends, I guess. Like, you could have 2 containers, which would take you then just over, but then you'd have to do 2 trips. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I guess you'll just have to work out like what's best for you. Like, you could technically just have I'm thinking Spice Harvester, if I'm honest. I think like you could use the container, but you just have to be mindful of like how much you were taking out. Generally, that 15,000 volume. I'm trying to think how much like that would actually be in weight wise for spice sand, and how many units that would be. I suppose I'd have to go and have a look how many units there are in a. I'm pretty sure though that you're not going to get any more than 15,000 units. But I can't remember off the top of my head how many units are actually one unit of spice sand is. We'll have to go and have a look, I guess. For anyone that didn't join in the weekend as well, or catch up on the stream from the weekend, go check it out, because then you'll understand where we were at with this and where this popped up from. I didn't build it all on the stream on the weekend, but we certainly finished it on the weekend. So if you want to know where that suddenly come from, because I did say I'd only build on the stream. However, I'll be honest, I have built a little bit of stuff off stream. Not since the weekend, but before the weekend. When I left you on Friday, I continued a little bit offline after the stream ended. And it all started from the fact that I was actually just testing out some concepts for archers. And I just got a bit carried away, and in the end ended up starting to build what you can now see today. Pretty sure I have in one of these boxes some Spice Mirage. I do. So 2,000 is 313. Oh wow, that's way lower than I was expecting. Oh, 15,000 actually then. That will very well do. Like, how many is a unit? Easier to work out from a unit. So 0.2. times 15. Actually, 15. I should do it the other way around, shouldn't I? 50,000 divided by 0.2. 75,000 spice sand you could get into that container. Yeah, that's more than I think you'd get in the. Actually, I'm not sure if it actually is, because you can get 25,000 units, I think, in the Spice Harvester. It's not based on volume, it's based on amount. From what I understand, I don't have one, so I can't 100% say, but I do remember being told it has a hold of 25,000 units in the Spice Harvester. So, however, whatever restricts it to that is limited to that. So this will effectively treble that. So you'd be able to bring back to Hagga Basin the equivalent of 3 harvesters fulls. I like that. I'm actually quite surprised. Actually, it's that good. I actually did think the volume was higher than it is. Actually, a lot more higher than it is. It's a lot lower than I was expecting. Unless they changed the volume on Spice Sand, but pretty sure they haven't. Well, they haven't, because this hasn't changed, and this was around that anyway, so it must be right. It hasn't been adjusted, at least under the latest patch. Wow. Very nice. Nice Christmas present anyway from Funcom. So, let's get going. So, on the weekend, one thing I did do is... Actually, let's just want to double check how much spice melange I actually have. Let's build, I don't know, any of these. Just want to see how much any of them actually have spice melange requirements. I've got 100 in current circulation. Do I have any stored away? Actually, no, I do have some stored away. I know I do, because I moved it out the other day. I have to bear in mind that I need 1,000 for something else. But so at the moment I didn't build the large spice refiner here just because I was testing a couple of things and I didn't quite have enough of something. I can't remember what I didn't have enough of now. What didn't I have enough of? I'll soon find out. The fast acting ingots I did have enough of. Oh, that was it. The silicon and cobalt paste I needed. Let's turn all these on, because I am going to need power. I do have loads of water as well now, so I don't have to worry about running out of water. There's plenty of water in the base. Not for like refining, but for me just staying alive here while I'm building outside. I forgot how much water you use up just being outside. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure if it's worse than it used to be, but Hagga Basin seems worse than the deep desert. Okay, a plenty of energy. We don't have to worry about that being on. We'll turn it off when we finish later, in a few hours or so. I will have to finish the stream as well on time today because I've got other things I need to do. But on Thursday we'll probably run the stream longer on Thursday. It's just that unfortunately today I have personal things I need to be doing, so yeah, I just can't run it later than I would love to do. Oh, you can also see all this nice and lit up and stuff. It's like got underground lighting. I don't need that amount obviously, but I think I was about 30 short of that. Maybe. I'll do that for now. Then we'll do the maximum amount of that. Should have a container somewhere. Oh yeah, next to this. I have changed the... Oh yeah, so those that were on Friday as well, you wouldn't have seen this, but I've changed all of this because I did have it different. You'll remember I had a raised area here, and I was reluctant to get rid of it because I had no way of being able to put the large spice refiner in without doing it. However, I decided to actually switch it around and do it so that it dipped in rather than dipped out. It does mean I've lost the storage in the way that I had done it, but this gives us a better use of the actual floor, and it stops all those rocks getting in the way that were previously in the way. So I've kind of bit a bullet on this one and just decided to go with functionality over the way I liked it. But I think this way works actually really nice, and we get this nice lighting effect around the edge, which I actually quite like as well. And because now with that tile closer to the lights, the actual whole area is now lit up by the lights above, because this down here is just like half a floor away from being lit up from those ceiling lights. So overall, actually, it's better off like this. So yeah, not my original wave, or at least one of my original concepts for this, but this gives, I think, an actual better result in the end. But there is something I do want to experiment with anyway, which may get rid of these underfloor ones and switch them to the ones that I actually use out in the deep desert. I'm not 100% sure at the moment whether that way will work very well, or at least whether I'll use up too many lights. So I'm gonna have a go and just see what it looks like if I did switch the lights up and have the lights up and got rid of the ones below. But at the moment, I think now that the actual floor's raised and the ceiling lights are actually lit on the floor, we don't need the lights around the edge as much. Like I was really considering having to think about how I was going to light up the room before that, but now it's actually pretty alright. It's not as drastically as bad, at least, as it was. Hey, where's all my stuff gone? And this literally is like to build this spice refiner here, because it requires double all the resources. It literally is eating into tons of resources that, well, obviously double the resources, but in a way that's like a bit more of a pain than I thought it would be to build everything here now, because there's things that it's using up that I would have used for all the other fabricators that obviously now I'm going to have to build extra for those fabricators. So I need more cobalt paste than I'm building at the moment by the looks of it, because I've only got 40 in go, which I think they've finished. So we're going to have to go and get some components for the cobalt paste, I think. Oh no, they haven't gone yet, but there's still only 50 and I need more than 50. Oh, actually, oh, there might be just enough. Actually, no, there isn't. Just a little, almost 50. There's 49. 49 plus that is 59. So it'd be 10 short exactly. Oh, actually, is that right? Oh my god, my head's hurting. Maps. 69 is almost 70. Well, actually, we should have enough. Thinking about it. I'm also not sure how this is water sealed either, because I thought you had to have literally everything sealed with penetrator shield on everything, but there's no penetrator shield on this door yet. But yeah, if you go far enough back here, it goes water sealed. Kind of weird. We like water sealed because it means that we're not using any water up. At least here. If you're in the deep desert, you still actually do use up water, but here you don't. Silicon though, so I need 50 more. What's this game about? This game is about Dune Awakening. So if you ever watched Dune, the movie, or the series actually, because there's a series out. The series came out like beginning of the year-ish, I think. I can't remember. It seems like ages ago I watched it, but it wasn't probably that long ago. It was probably about at the start of the year, I think, the actual movie came out. This is the game of Dune Awakening. So it's like a bit of a survivalist game. You've got to survive in the deep desert and the desert. You've never seen it. Okay, have you read the book? Dune Awakening is like it's a very good book. It's a bit like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. There are certain films and series that were originally started off life as books, and this is like one of those, but this is like one of the big boys for readers. Like, I'm not a reader, but my dad's a reader, and he loves this, and that's how I got into Dune, because I watched the films because he loved the films. It's kind of sci-fi. Hi Phantom, how you doing? Welcome from the UK. I'm from the UK too. And so is XIX. You need to change your name, bro. Like XIX. Says my bot crazy trying to say your name. Do you play Dune Awakening, Phantom? From Nottingham. I've got family that living on Nottingham. I'm actually currently living in the North Yorkshire at the moment, although all my family are from actually Liverpool, and I will be moving back to Liverpool like next year. But yeah, I'm very familiar with Nottingham. I've never really been to Nottingham. Like, I've been through Nottingham, but I've never been to it as such. I've been told it's nice. You're level 10. Wow, you're new. How long have you been playing? I'm assuming you're new, because level 10's like way back when. Like, I think I got past level 10 in like half a day. The first like 20 levels are super fast. I think what's my character's level? I think I'm like level 181. I got to about level 70 before I kind of had a bit of a rest from the game, and then since then I've not really leveled much. It's just like a slow burner from that point, at least for me, because I just stopped doing the PvE stuff and concentrated on doing like end game stuff, like going out spice harvesting, going out building stuff. Like, what I'm building at the moment is I'm actually transforming a base. Only 10 hours. Yeah, that's fair enough. And what do you think of the game so far? Have you only just played it since they brought out the latest patch, or have you been playing it for like longer than a week? Because I realise that some people aren't as dedicated to gaming as I am, so 10 hours could be over like a month as far as I'm concerned. It's like some people can play only a couple of hours here and there. I've been playing since the game came out back in June, I think it was. Way back when it was. Halfway through the summer. When there were loads of players playing, and now you can tell, now the game's like almost like the deep desert itself. Sparse and not very many people around. Hence why I'm building what I'm building now, because effectively I have come from building, that's my original base up there, and as you can tell, it's built very high. I know it's sad that we are kind of at a point where the game, I think, is on a bit of a knife edge as to how long it will survive. To be fair, the like Funcom are pretty dedicated towards the game, and they continue to develop in it. They don't seem to be pulling out. I haven't heard of any layoffs for developers or anything like that, so that's always a good sign that the publishers behind things, and they're not shrinking teams because things aren't going as well as they expected. I think you'll always get a fall off in a game. It's just that the fall off in this game was quite extreme. and that's because of a couple of things. Yes, it is. So the game is multiplayer. It is effectively an MMO, but not an MMO. It's an MMO in the sense that a lot of people can play it and be on one server at any one point. In Hagga Basin, it's a bit more different. So in Dune Awakening, it's not like GTA or EVE Online or any game where you just have one public server or a server that you can join, and that server everyone will be on. In Dune Awakening, there are a number of servers that you can join. And depending on which server you join, you can then have a sub-server within the server. So you've got to think of like Dune Awakening is like when you'll have a main server. So my main server for this one is called Wormsite. That's my main server. And then there's like a sub-server, a sub-instance of that server, which is called Strake Nadir. Now, Strake Nadir is essentially the Hagga Basin instance of this server. But whenever you're in a deep desert, everyone that's on Wormsite will be on that main server. But when you're in Hagga Basin, you'll be on a sub-server. And that's how this game works. And you're limited on how many people. Yeah, they should have merged servers. Unfortunately, they haven't done that yet, but it is in their roadmap to do that, which is kind of obvious because that's generally how it works anyway. You'll always have a massive influx. You'll always put enough servers on to manage that big initial influx. You'll then have to weed through the servers and find out which ones are your weakest servers, and then you start axing those weakest servers and forcing players on those servers to migrate onto the other servers. Well, I think my server may be one of those servers that could be migrated purely because, generally speaking, there aren't a huge amount of people on it. However, apparently there's more on this server than there are on some other servers. And while it's not one of the most busiest servers, because I have heard there are some servers that do still have a good player base on, it's certainly not one of the most strongest ones. So I would say that this is like a 50-50 server as to whether or not it becomes one of those servers they do merge. But I think at some stage they are definitely going to be doing it, but it's not going to be until after the new year before they start doing it. The thing they had to get done first was to actually bring out the base recovery tool. Well, can I do the clock and bell on it? No, you can't do the clock and bell on it because you can't do the clock and bell on like anything that's not GTA. This is a completely different game. There's one thing I'll say to you if you ever want to consider playing it, XIXIX, is this has a lot of story narrative. So like GTA, if you like the NPC storylines and the missions and stuff like that, then you'll love this game, at least from where an event Horizons is playing, because he's at the very start, and as you go through the game, it's got loads of narrative. And even if you've never watched Dune Awakening or Dune itself, the movies, you'll learn tons about the movies, tons about Dune, and all about like what's going on. Probably that much that you'll be that intrigued to learn about it more, that you'll then start watching YouTube documentaries on some of the concepts of Dune Awakening and how, you know, the original author kind of looked at the Harkonnens and the Atreides and all the mechanics behind it. It's a really interesting kind of concept they've tried to bring to a survivalist game, and you'll kind of be taken on the journey of like all the ins and outs of Dune Awakening, of like Dune itself. So if you've ever read the books, you'll probably learn a lot more about it than, well, you'll know a lot more about it before you start playing the game than if you watch the films. It is, I do think it is a good game. It's a good game until you get to the end game. That's the only thing I will say. When you get to the end game, you'll get a bit bored in its current form. So I hope Phantom, like by the time you get to those higher levels, that when you get near to the end game, that they may have brought out another patch or two that may have altered the end game to kind of bring some purpose to the end game. But the problem with the current end game, for me and quite a lot of other players, is it lacks an end game. They kind of, because the game itself, from my perspective at least, feels like they've pushed the narrative to be PvE all the way through the game. So your story led, it's very little of it is PvP orientated, and the little parts that it does give you a glimpse of PvP, most players, even myself who is a natural PvP player, feel it just feels unnatural to do the PvP element because it's just never been introduced at the very start, and you don't play it throughout the game. And then the parts that you do see it kind of puts you on edge as to what's going to happen in the PvP areas. However, the thing is you don't ever see a player, and if you ever do see a player in any of the PvP areas, they literally spot you and they'll literally run the opposite way. And the first time I seen someone, I was kind of like, I didn't know really what to do, whether I was like, should I get ready to fight or stuff like that. It's kind of like, it's just a bit unnatural. So no GTA Plus benefits. Like GTA, what I would say is GTA is I wouldn't say it's play to win, but it's on a model that puts it on kind of some comparison with play to win. Funcom games don't ever introduce tokenization in order to be able to up your game, but that's because like I suppose there are things that they could do, like they could do skins and stuff like that, but they do skins in the game, but it's all included in the game package you buy. So you can buy different tiers of the game, and effectively when you buy another DLC patch, you'll be able to buy things that you wouldn't get as in the base part of the game. So you can buy certain things, but you're not buying things that are unobtainable through just playing the game, if that makes sense. Like the one thing I'd say is, like, GTA you can buy money, so you can swap real money for GTA money. In Dune Awakening you can't. You earn your money. But there are tips and tricks that you can do to make money like super easy in this game. Like at the moment, I think I've got like 3 million on me or something like that. 3.6 million Solari, which won't sound like a lot to you in GTA money, but in this money, it's like being a billionaire in GTA. But that's not hard to make, and I could make hundreds of millions in this game. Like there's just no need to, because currency in this game is rarely for the player market, and the player market in this game is pretty dead. So because it doesn't have the player base. So I was actually like really surprised last week when I sold a ton of stuff to get that 3 million, because I was pretty sure that no one was going to buy the stuff I put on the market, and people did. But when I go to buy stuff on the market generally doesn't have much stuff on it, which is probably why my stuff sold so easy. But Yeah. The problem with the game, and why I think the player base has dropped off though, is because the end game, most people just can't get used to the PvP, and the end game, the only thing really in the end game is revolves around PvP. Like there's the Landrad event, which is an event that's effectively trying to put Atreides vs Harkonnens, and to give you kind of some sort of objectives to play against each other and compete and finish events. So like this is the Landrad, and effectively most of these things for the Landrad, that you have to do certain like things for them, and if you're either the Atreides or Harkonnen can win a tile, and basically you need to be able to get from one side to the other, either up or down or across. It's kind of like noughts and crosses, but obviously not just noughts and crosses. And any of the kind of guilds can effectively do what's required for each of the actual tasks needed for this Landrad. So in order to make your noughts and crosses for either green or red, you effectively need to finish whatever tasks required. So clearly, you know, well, you can go to that representative, find out what that actual house wants, and then you can fulfill that requirement. If your side are the first to do that, then you'll basically claim that tile for the week, and then you kind of need to do that with all of the kind of things in a row in order to be able to do it. Now, obviously, the Atreides and the Harkonnens against each other are going to be trying to do exactly the same. So if they see one of the actual lines starting to be filled out, then the first thing they're going to do is try and block it, and obviously try and compete against it. And that's what normally happens. The problem with that is you normally find that most of the servers either have heavy Atreides or heavy Harkonnen. So there isn't much of a compete. Like, I'm on a server that's heavy Atreides. So I think we've only ever won the Landrad twice, and that's basically because they gave it to us. They turned around and said, "Oh, we don't need anything this week. You guys can have it." So we got it for 1 week. And when you do the Landrad, effectively you get special gear, special blueprints that are available for any winners of that week, and that allows you to get certain goods like what I've got here. So my character has a gun, which is the Dune Watcher, and I got that as a blueprint, and that blueprint allows you then to make this gun, which is an advanced tier 6. So in this game there are different tiers of kind of weapons and stuff like that, and the top tier is tier 6. Now there's normal tier 6, which you'll get through these. So this is all the weapons, and at the very top tier, which is tier 6, which is the Plastatium products, this is effectively all these items. Now these are just normal tier 6 items. You can then go to like a special area, which is this one, and again, like that other area, you can go through different levels, but the Plastatium, which is effectively the tier 6 stuff, these ones you can either find in the deep desert through downed ships, or through treasure hunting, or through the testing stations that you can go to in the deep desert, in the PvP areas, no, but not in the first grid. The first grid, there are some testing stations there on row A, but the ones on row A are effectively, they just drop tier 5 gear. So you can get tier 5 blueprints there, which is still a good thing. If you go to test station 1 and 2, you'll want to go to that testing station, because you can get a tier 5, or a chance to get a tier 5 one of, where are they? Just have loads of them here somewhere. Oh yeah, because I'm looking at tier 6, that's why I'm thinking, where are they? You should have like these. So you can get these compactors Mark 5. Now the reason why players go for this particular one is because effectively it has a high gather rate and a low worm intensity attraction. Now a normal tier 5 and tier 6 compactor will have a very high worm attraction. And when you're trying to do spice harvesting, you want to have as low worm aggro as possible, because you don't want to attract the worm. Well, at least you are going to attract the worm, but you want to try and minimize it so that you have as much time as possible in between each time that the worm keeps coming to kind of tell you to piss off, sort of thing. So effectively, all the players will get something called soft step boots, which change your footwear to a pair of footwear that give you a 40% worm de-aggro mitigation. So any aggro that you create, it automatically reduces your aggro by 40%. And then along with this actual compactor, allows you then to stay on the field for as long as you can. If you don't have those two items, effectively you'll be aggroing the worm very fast, and the worm will be constantly on your back trying to eat you. And you don't want the worm to eat you, because if your worm eats you, you effectively lose everything. So all the stuff you have in your inventory, all your clothes, everything here, if I got ate by the worm, would be effectively wiped out. The only thing you might end up with, but this is a 50-50, I think. I'm not too sure what the drop rate is, but the only thing you might end up with is a worm's tooth as a souvenir for the fact you got eaten. You don't always get it though, so sometimes you might be eaten by the worm and you won't get it. Other times you do. That actual tooth though can be converted into a special dagger, but that dagger is super brittle, and even though it has a ridiculous kind of like DPS on it, so this particular sword here, it has a damage per hit rate of 152.4. The dagger that you can get or you can make from this worm's tooth is 196. So with one hit you can pretty much down anyone. Well, apart from a player, because with that it wouldn't down a player, but I would say with most NPCs it would as well. There are some NPCs as well that could take that hit. But you'll only make one hit with that dagger because it will shatter as soon as you do it, and you can't make it again. Well, you can actually make that one again, but there's also another dagger that I won't want to spoil exactly who you get it from, etc. But when you get that dagger, once you use that and you stab someone with it, it'll break and you'll never be able to use it again, because you can only repair stuff that you actually have the blueprint for, and because of the way you get that actual dagger, you'll never be able to repair it. I actually have one broken upstairs in one of my storage units because I didn't realise that. I went to use it and it shattered. Nothing I can do about it. I'll only ever get the one, but I'll never also be able to repair it either. So yeah, that's where that's at, and I think my stuff's finished now, so I should be able to build this large spice refiner. Almost. I'm 10 off. Oh dearie, did I not count? Like, on a complexity scale, this game is probably about a medium level of complexity. In comparison to GTA though, I'd say this game is quite a lot more complex. At least until you get used to this type of game. But the most complex game you can play at the moment still, and it has been for ever since it came out back in the early 2000s, is EVE Online. That is like taking real life and putting it into a space game, and that is a true MMO. Like, that sets the record for the biggest war event to happen. And I think the last time the record got broken was in 2000 and I think it was 2021 the last time the record got broken, and it was 8,600 plus in system. I can't remember the exact number because I think it has been confirmed, but I'm not too sure exactly where it is. I think it was about 8,000. We were actually trying to get 12,000 people in system. However, the server literally shit itself. I've got no easy way of saying that. And yeah, the server died and had to be rebooted and stuff like that, and everything just went to pot after that. I think it took them 2 hours to get it back up before people could get back in the system again. It set up that happened over a big war that was happening between the alliance that I'm part of, or the coalition that I'm part of, and another coalition. Well, basically it was the rest of Evil 9 against us. But that was a one mega epic kind of event that happened. So I always compare most MMOs to that, because there is no bigger game than Evil 9. You could arguably say like World of Warcraft competed with it for years, but because yeah, that's like an MMO as well. So that's the spice refiner ready to get going. How much spice have I now got? I should have about 500, I reckon. $621. So the other things we need to build that I'm not going to be able to build because I won't have enough metal for it are these. Each one of these will take up 45 spice melange, which is not bad actually. I have enough. I might have enough to do all of the actual fabricators and still be able to do the container. Now the container is the most important thing I want to do. So if I need to, I just won't make fabricators at this stage, but I do want to make this fabricator. Just don't know where I'm going to put this fabricator yet. Whether I put it at the back over here, or whether I put it near the front. It might make more sense to put it at the back, just because it is, as you can tell, it does take up quite a lot of floor space. Wow. Can you not see my nightclub? It's here. No, you can't get any nightclubs in it. It's not that type of game. There's like, so there's no like career as such. I'd say the difference between this game and like GTA, like the biggest difference between this and GTA, like the similarities is like, yeah, it's multiplayer and it's online. But where it will heavily separate is things like this, like skill trees. Now, GTA has, what, 5 or 6 skills? It's not very many skills. It has like, what, strength, things like that. And they're not even really skills, really. They're just like attributes, almost, that you basically improve by doing things in the game that it will improve those attributes. The difference in this game is that you can level up to level 200. So I'm, what, 19 levels off the very top level. Every time you level in this game, you effectively get a point, or maybe 2 points, depending on what level you go up. And those points allow you to unlock these. Now, each of these are essentially a skill. And as you can tell, there are different types of areas that you can go in. So this particular area, we've got gunnery, suspension training, and tactical tech, and all of this is towards a soldier. Then you've got this one, which is Mentats, and Mentats have mental curious, assassination, and tactician. Effectively, this has loads of stuff that's towards that. Then you've got a planetologist, which will give you a ton of different skills. Generally, everyone will want planetologist because everyone wants to have mechanic and stuff like that. So effectively, you'll want these types of things which help reduce usage of fuel and durability and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So this is like one of the first things you'll want to do, especially when you get a vehicle, but not necessarily when you first start the game, because when you first start the game, you're not going to have any vehicles, so the planetologist at that point is a bit pointless. but you definitely do want it as soon as you get your first vehicle, because by the time you get your first vehicle, you want to be able to repair it, but you also want to be able to reduce the durability loss that you'll get from either using it or when you repair it. So all of these things, this actual part of the tree is kind of like the most important part, and I'd say like these two are your first two most important ones. Do you put some points in a farm just you're gonna farm? I don't. What are the GTA questions? There's no GTA stuff in it. There's always like some like for likes, but there's like very few likes for likes. I would say like the nearest like for like is the fact that GTA recognised that players need some sort of direction, and they brought in careers that are very loose, but give people an idea maybe of what they should do in order to get started and, you know, create something that gives them an empire. This game just automatically, through how you want to play it and the things that you'll want to do, you have to always think about, okay, so what do I need? What do I need right now? What will I need as I'm going? And then you start to look at what your skills are available, and then also how you want to play the game, because every player is going to be slightly different. And while there'll be stronger builds than other builds, everything is based on how a player likes to play. So effectively, how I've set up my character, there's very few people that will like to play my character in the way I've set it up, because this suits my playing style and is good for how I play the game. However, other people, they might decide that no, they want to be more soldier, and they'll throw stuff in here because they want the anti-gravity field. Like a lot of PvP players like the anti-gravity field because it allows you to control your opposition and give you points where you can effectively use kind of like crowd controls that allow you then to get not necessarily an upper hand, but at least allow you to control the situation a little bit better. Where I'm less a crowd control person, and I'm more of like the kind of mix between a soldier. So while I say I don't like soldier, my representation close to a soldier is the fact I like to tank more, but I also like to be close quarters. So generally for me, I don't need crowd control, because I'm usually the person that is being crowd controlled. So I can take a lot of hits, but sometimes at the cost of my movement speed. But then I can mitigate my movement speed by having other things that allow me to kind of get around still easier. One of those things is things like having the chicken claw, which is part of the actual the soldier tree. That's an ability where I can literally just kind of like have a grappling hook like on a wire and use that to like pull myself towards wherever I'm going, and then I can mix that with like an anti-gravity belt, which you can improve an anti-gravity belt somewhere around here, and effectively, you know, get more out of that. Like all of these skills are effectively, like if you just work out what they are, you can reset them, not like constantly reset them, but you can, I think, reset them every like 7 days or something along those lines. Well, actually, it's every 3 days, I think. I can't remember because I very rarely reset it. But I think when you reset it, you can't reset it again for 3 days after you last reset it, and that's just to stop people constantly resetting it. So if you were in a battle and you wanted to change your stuff quickly, if you've already changed it within the last 3 days, you won't be able to change it, and that's just to stop people just constantly changing it right on the fly. You can actually change all your skills and your abilities on the fly, so you can swap these out at any time, even when you're in battle, as long as it's not on a cooldown. However, they don't want people changing their builds every 2 seconds, so they've kind of like got it to a point where I think it's quite acceptable, especially when you look at things like EVE Online, because if you do it EVE Online, you can only change your core kind of abilities once every 6 to 12 months, depending on whether you have bonus and some other things, or whether you pay to have it reset and stuff like that. So it's kind of a here or there, I guess. You can get Spice Melange, which is better. Do some research into Dune Awakening and look up Spice Melange. It's not weed, but it's better than weed if you understand what Spice Melange does. Spice Melange is kind of like the weed on steroids version. Anyway, let me go. Where was I at? Oh yeah, I was gonna try and see where I can place this. Oh, I actually have enough. No, I don't. I don't have any silicon. And I definitely don't have any cobalt paste. We're gonna have to do a cobalt paste one. But while we do that, we're going to put this on. I'll craft 200. Actually, I'll craft 500 because I would definitely need all 500. And that doesn't use up too much water. It's the only thing with crafting. Well, just before I do go out as well, I think I actually have an helicopter on me. But before I go out in that, I do need to go back to the base a second because I need to go get something. Say back to the base. This is all my base, but what I mean is my OG base. So while we're gone, let's put some more water in, just because if I don't put it in, I'll end up running out of water, and then everything grinds to a halt when you don't have water in this game. Oh, one thing I do need actually, I need the bike. Should we take... no, I won't. I was thinking of maybe taking the buggy and we can go loads of areas and get tons of it, but the only thing is while the buggy is great to take for a lot of the mining, it's not necessarily when you're trying to get the stuff for the cobalt paste, because most of the actual decent nodes are actually stuck in caves which you can't get to. Which card did you get? A B car. There's so many cars there in GTA. Must have been a good car. Better than a GTA Plus. Oh, actually, no. You just said you got GTA Plus. No, I'm just saying. Sorry. So you've got the car that I had yesterday that I was driving around in. While you've got it, don't forget to get the Levia as well, because Levia as well is exclusive GTA Plus, unless it's that one that you're on about. If you got the, obviously don't forget to get the free one, and obviously get as many of the free ones as you want, because obviously you get as many times as you want. But don't forget to get the Lever as well, because the Lever, yeah, that's the one, yeah, the FMJ blue one I was driving. Don't forget to get the other one though as well, the one that has no roof, because the one that has no roof, that's the one that everyone's after, which is the GTA Plus exclusive one, and that's the one that players are willing, you know, through that player market, that's the one that people are willing to buy off you. Oh, something just crashed. What's going on? One second. Okay, I think my streaming software has just crashed. So if it has, well, it has crashed because I've got a message come up. But some people will be knocked off straight away and some people won't, but you will all eventually get kicked off. So just for your information, but I might just have to quickly try and restart the stream. Yeah, the stream has died on Twitch, so it's probably going to die on everything else. I'm just going to have to restart the software because I've got a message that's come up saying OBS has crashed.